Have you ever stopped to think about the piece of paper or the number on your screen that you use to buy your morning coffee? What gives it value? The story of money is a tale as old as civilization itself, a fascinating journey of innovation, power, and trust. Our story begins long before cash registers and credit cards, in a world of direct exchange. If you were a farmer with a surplus of wheat and needed a pair of shoes, you had to find a shoemaker who wanted your wheat. This barter system was cumbersome and inefficient, heavily reliant on a coincidence of wants. Imagine trying to trade a cow for a loaf of bread. It's not exactly a fair or practical exchange. This inefficiency sparked humanity's search for a better way, a universal medium of exchange. The solution came in the form of commodity money. Across the globe, different cultures found value in specific durable goods. In ancient Rome, soldiers were sometimes paid in salt, the origin of the word salary. In parts of Africa and Asia, cowrie shells were used as currency for centuries. Meanwhile, in agricultural societies, livestock like cattle became a measure of wealth. These items had intrinsic value, but they still weren't perfect. They were often difficult to carry, divide, and store, pushing civilization toward its next great financial invention. The real revolution began around 600 BC in the Kingdom of Lydia, in modern-day Turkey. Here, the world's first coins were minted from electrum, a natural alloy of gold and silver. These standardized, stamped pieces of metal were easy to carry, durable, and their value was guaranteed by the state. The idea quickly spread to the Greek city-states, transforming trade across the Mediterranean. This wasn't just a Western phenomenon. Around the same time, unique forms of coinage were developing independently in China, with spade and knife money, and in India with punch-marked coins. But metal was heavy. The next leap forward came from Song Dynasty China in the 11th century. Facing a copper shortage, the government issued the world's first paper banknotes. These were essentially promissory notes, a promise that the paper could be exchanged for a certain amount of metal. The concept, initially met with skepticism, eventually traveled along the Silk Road, and by the 17th century, European banks began issuing their own banknotes. For centuries, the value of this paper was tied to a physical commodity, usually gold. This was the gold standard, an era where you could, in theory, walk into a bank and exchange your paper currency for a fixed amount of gold. This system provided stability but also limited the flexibility of governments to manage their economies. In 1971, the system collapsed, and the world shifted to fiat money. Fiat currency isn't backed by a physical commodity. Its value comes from the trust and confidence we have in the government that issues it. It's the system most of the world uses today. The 20th century then ushered in the age of plastic and digital transactions. The first credit cards appeared in the 1950s, beginning the slow march toward a cashless society. Transactions that once took days to clear now happen in seconds. The rise of the internet accelerated this trend, with electronic banking and online payments becoming the norm. Now, we stand at the cusp of another revolution, with the emergence of cryptocurrencies and the complex blockchain technology that powers them. As we look to the horizon, the very definition of money continues to evolve. Governments worldwide are exploring central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, a digital form of a country's fiat currency. What does this mean for privacy, security, and global finance? From bartering shells to blockchain, the evolution of money is a reflection of our own progress. The question is no longer just what's in your wallet, but what form will value itself take next?